Guess what number podcast this is? Well, find out on this next episode of Digest This.
Welcome to Digest This, the show that helps you revolutionize your digestive health. Here are your hosts, Dr. Liz Cruz and Tina Nunziato.
Hello, and welcome to Digest This. I'm Dr. Liz Cruz, and I've got Tina Nunziato sitting right here by my side. Thank you so much for joining us for this celebratory podcast or episode of our podcast. So, which podcast is this, Tina? I'm going to let you say it.
Number 400.
Number 400. Yes. This is number 400.
We always celebrate the 100 marks.
Yes. I mean, you have to, right? There's always got to be some celebration. So, this is our 400 podcast, and we've been actually podcasting. Actually, I didn't remember how far back. Tina just freshened my memory. 2014.
Yeah, we're almost coming up on 10 years, so we're going to have to celebrate that, the 10-year anniversary
for sure.
of us podcasting.
For sure, 2014. Now, we have had some pauses here and there, mainly like around 2019 and 2020 during COVID, and then 2021 after my mom died, took a little pause there too. So there have been some little pauses and breaks, but for the most part, we've been podcasting.
Almost 10, well, for 10 years straight. I mean, every year we've done at least 10 podcasts.
Yeah.
So, but there have been, like she said, some lulls here and there where we weren't putting out stuff regularly.
Right.
But it's I can't believe it's been 10 years that we've been in front of the camera. Well, actually, not in front of the camera. We just started YouTubing this year, right?
Yeah.
It's been, I think, something like that. I think we're on our 60th
We just started YouTubing over the past.
Yeah.
Probably
behind the microphone.
Yes.
almost 10 years behind the microphone.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the YouTube has been a fun addition because I've had some of our listeners, say, "Oh, it's so great to see you and Tina, like when you guys are actually doing the podcast," and so that's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for being a part of our journey. Mm-hmm. It means so much to us that you take the time because we know how busy everyone is. It's crazy busy, and even to listen to a podcast or if you're watching it on YouTube, it takes time, right? Because you got to get on the app, you got to open it up, you got to find, look, everything takes time. And in our busy, hectic schedules, the fact that you take the time to listen, and whether you're one of our regular listeners or a new listener, we just want to say thank you and how much it means to us that you do take the time and that you're on this journey with us.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, so every 100th podcast, we go in and we pull a list of podcasts, all of our podcasts, to see what our top 10 podcasts have been.
Right.
And so this time we just pulled it over the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, what are our top 10 podcasts? So we're going to talk about that. The other thing that we look at is where people are listening. Mm-hmm. So primarily people are listening to us on Apple, the Apple Podcast app. And then we have some people listening to us through Google, through Spotify. We've got people listening to us through iTunes, and then also straight on our Podomatic app. So we are our Podomatic website. So a lot of people go to Podomatic too. They can go right to that from their phone or their computer and listen right on Podomatic. So anyway, but the huge is Apple.
Apple.
Okay.
Podcast, okay. What about places around the world? Do you have that information you could give us? That's always fun.
So majority of people who listen to us are here in the U.S. and Canada, and we do have some people listening to us in South America, and in Europe. So it's cool. The message is getting out there. We're at tens of thousands of downloads, so it's exciting.
It is fun. It's exciting for us.
We're the number 8 alternative health podcast, so that's it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's fun to be able to share just our life and our experience of having our medical practice, having our wellness business, and then having people be interested in everything that's going on in our lives and how we're trying to help people get better.
Absolutely. Yeah? Absolutely.
So the top 10 podcasts.
Okay, the top 10 podcasts. Drum roll.
All right, drum roll. So the number 1 podcast.
This is over the past 3 years.
3 years.
Okay.
Was Vacation Poopy.
Vacation poopy. I was actually talking to a few patients about vacation poopy in the last couple weeks because, people are coming back from their summer vacations. And so, I've heard from a few people like, oh my goodness, I had such a hard time pooping. And so anyways, vacation poopy is a popular one.
And it was by far our top listened to podcast. It was a podcast we did back in June of 2021.
Okay.
So it's just gotten a lot of play out there. And
Cool.
It's funny because, speaking of that, I've had a lot of patients call me before they go on vacation this summer. And then when they get back and they're like, oh my gosh, these supplements saved my life on vacation. It was so
Awesome.
good. I didn't have
awesome.
vacation poopy. And I was just laughing because apparently that's what people care about the most is vacation.
Yeah. I mean, our poor bodies get so stressed. It's funny because you go on vacation to have, to relax and have a good time, but there is a lot of stressfulness about vacations. Okay, we just came back from our vacation.
Unbeknownst to you all, because we were posting podcasts while we were gone.
Yes, we were.
We've actually been gone for 3 weeks.
That's right. We went to Europe, and it was an amazing trip. We went to London, then Ireland, then Paris, and then ended up in Italy on the Amalfi Coast for about, that's right, 8-9 days. I loved every single part of it, but I can't lie, Amalfi Coast was my favorite. That was actually, if it had been up to me, we would have gone to Amalfi Coast for 3 weeks. It's my wife who's like, well, maybe the kids might want a little variety. And
why don't we go see some other things?
Yeah, we haven't, there's other places we haven't been to. So anyways, but yes, and it is stressful. From getting to the airport and checking in and going through security and making sure that, that you're going to be able to get everything through.
Yeah.
And then the first 3 places we went to, we planned, of course, a very busy schedule, going to museums, the Eiffel Tower, going to the Harry Potter, the studio in London, right outside of London. I mean, so, we had some things planned that also causes stress because you're trying to figure out how are you going to get there. Mm-hmm. You don't know the transportation system in each of those countries. And so, again, it's like, it's a lot of stress.
Yeah, and then you're not eating the food you're normally eating because
Exactly.
you're out and about, right? And you
Exactly.
can't really cook. And even though we try to get Airbnbs wherever we go, I mean, we primarily are eating out most of the time.
Yes.
I mean, there was a couple times in Amalfi we did cook because we were there for 9 days and we had a beautiful kitchen. But for the most part, you're eating out, right? So that causes a lot of issues too. But yeah, apparently taking enzymes and probiotics on vacation really help people with their vacation poopy. So number 2 podcast, The Gut-Brain Axis.
Interesting.
Which I thought was, I thought was really good. People are looking into this, they want to know what's going on with the gut and the brain and how are they tied together. And so I thought that was pretty cool. Number 3 podcast was Raising Your Vibration, which is a podcast you wanted to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was cool. Number 4 is Dr. Cruz really saving lives? Apparently, everyone wants to know, is Dr. Cruz saving lives? How is Dr. Cruz saving lives?
What is she doing?
Exactly. What are you doing
What
every
is she
day?
doing? Well, today we're on podcasting.
But yes, Dr. Cruz really is saving lives. So if you want to listen to that podcast, that was one we did
That is awesome.
in July of 2022. And then the next one is She's Alive, which was a podcast I did about you because we lost Dr. Cruz's mom a couple years ago. Actually, it's coming up on her 2-year anniversary of her death. And we had sent out a letter because she worked for the practice since its inception. She was with us. And so a lot of people knew her. And so we had sent out a note. But the confusing thing is she has the same name as Dr. Cruz.
Yes.
And so when I sent the note out, everyone thought Dr. Cruz died. And there was this huge confusion. Dr. Cruz did not die. Dr. Cruz is still here. But yeah, so we had to do a podcast.
It could be a hologram, Tina has a hologram of me in the closet. She just pulls it out on Wednesdays to do these podcasts. And
that's a pretty sophisticated hologram. Anyway, okay, next one. Options for ongoing diverticulitis. And then actually, that podcast and our number 8 podcast was the difference between diverticulitis and diverticulosis. So a lot of people out there, I think, maybe with either one or the other,
Right.
really wanting to learn more about diverticulitis. So that was, good
Cool.
to know.
Yeah.
And then let's see, our number 6 was the truth about food sensitivities.
That's cool.
So this is a big thing.
Yes,
today.
it is. It is.
We're actually, I feel like where we really have helped people on the wellness side of the business is learning their food sensitivities, honestly. I mean, aside from getting them the supplements they need to help their body function properly, I think the next step is identifying their food sensitivities. And typically when patients take that step and make that investment in themselves, they get better so much faster. And so that's where we see the biggest results, I feel like, is with that food sensitivity test. So I'm really glad that people are looking into that and taking that seriously.
Tina.
Yeah.
I just thought about this.
Yes.
Do you remember when we started our wellness program, our journey? That was what? Our twins are 14. It was while you were pregnant with them. So 15 years ago.
Right.
That I came to you, right? And I said, Tina, I said, honey, doing all these procedures on people, prescribing medicines like candy, doing CAT scans, ultrasounds, blood work, and people are still coming back with symptoms. And I said, what should I do? And you said, how should I know? You're the doctor, not me. Then we started our wellness journey.
Right.
The allergy panel.
The allergy panel, the food sensitivities. Yes.
The food, because it's so true.
There's got to be a test out there. Right?
And even back then, we had been doing blood. We'd been doing blood through, LabCorp, Sonora Quest, and it was to check for food sensitivities.
No, food allergies.
Or food allergies.
Yeah,
food allergies, right.
specifically.
Food allergies. And we were finding some here and there and sending them off to the allergist. But it wasn't until we started incorporating and promoting the food sensitivity test that we have, that unfortunately you can't find in a regular lab and is not covered by insurance. Right. However,
and most allergists aren't doing that.
Exactly.
Test. Yeah.
However, that has helped so many of our patients and clients. So many.
Yeah, that typically, so you think of, there's got to be a test.
Right.
There's got to be a test. Like, what are we missing, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that is the test.
Yeah,
like that's
absolutely.
the test that I feel like in general, traditional medicine has fallen short. Is with that test, because,
I agree.
like you said, traditional medicine isn't doing that test, therefore it's not covered by insurance. So it's a cash pay test, and a lot of people can't afford it. It's $398. It's not cheap, but I tell patients all the time, look, if you can spend a few $100 and figure out what's going on with you, wouldn't you do it?
Yeah,
just to help save so much in future anguish and time and money lost and so many things, right? So, a lot of people have done it. I should go back and look to see how many food sensitivities tests we've done. I mean, it's got to be getting close to 1,000 now.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, we've been doing that test for a few years now. And so, like I said, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that's helped make such a huge impact on getting to the bottom of people's issues.
Awesome.
Yeah. So then number 8 was the diverticulosis versus diverticulitis. And then the number 9 was listening about your second colonoscopy, which again, I don't know why people are so infatuated with you. I mean, she's just Dr. Cruz, people. Get over yourselves, okay? Who wants to know about her colonoscopy? I mean, really, it was pretty boring.
Well, they did televise Katie Couric.
They did, that's
right?
true.
That's right.
Okay, so you're just as popular as Katie Couric, apparently, to all of our listeners. Great job
okay.
there.
All right,
and then
all right.
the number 10 podcast was How the Body Detoxes.
Really?
Which, again, pretty cool,
Awesome.
right?
Awesome.
That everyone's looking into that.
Detoxification, one of our favorite topics.
Yeah.
One of our favorite topics.
But 400 podcasts.
Yes.
Those are our
Woo!
top 10 podcasts
Awesome.
over the last
Awesome.
few years. Very exciting.
Yes,
and,
very exciting. And here's the thing. We wouldn't have an existing show without you. Okay? I mean, obviously, we're doing it and we're taking the time to do it. However, without the listeners, the show is just sitting out there. What's the point?
Exactly.
So thank you to you for making this podcast what it is today. Almost, 10 years later, 9 years later. So thank you so much again for being on this journey with us. We couldn't do it without you, and we truly are appreciative and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. And if you want to connect with us, if there's anything on this podcast, on this episode that we said that you're like, oh my goodness, I want to know more about the food sensitivity testing or anything at all, please reach out to us. You can find us on our website, drlizcruz.com. There is a magenta colored button on the homepage that you can click and schedule a free 30-minute wellness consult. Okay, and that's done over the phone. So you could do that from anywhere in the world. And yes, it is free to you. If you have not subscribed to our podcast, please subscribe so that you don't ever miss an episode. And lastly, if you haven't rated us, please rate us and please give us a 5 because it'll help other people just like you to find us easier. So thank you so much, a million times again for being on this journey and for supporting us and being a part of our family.
We're celebrating with you.
Amen. We love you, and we'll catch you on the next podcast.
Thank you for joining Dr. Liz Cruz and Tina Nunziato. To learn more about their revolutionary products and services, go online to www.drlizcruz.com.